So here's why Dion's words last Friday meant so much more to me. Here's my context. I've mentioned this before. Now I'll go even more deeply into it because it'll give you far greater context about why that moment with Dion meant so much to me. I did grow up in Oklahoma City. I was the oldest of 3 children in a broken home, wrecked by alcohol from the start. Both parents alcoholics. Father functional drunk, mother get drunk. Because of these circumstances, I often got left at my grandmother's. My grandmother didn't have a whole lot of money. She traveled for her work. So she did have a full-time, I guess you'd call it housekeeper, who was actually more of a house runner. Her name was Katie Bell Henderson. She ran that household with an iron fist. She was a black woman from the south side of Chicago with a background that went all the way back to Alabama in her extended family tree. But she grew up on the south side of Chicago. She was tough. As sweet as she was tough, but she was tough. But please understand, from my perspective, as I got to know Katie Bell at age 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, spent a lot of time with Katie Bell. Maybe I didn't know any better, but I did never, ever think of Katie Bell in that old South plantation mentality way of quote unquote servant. Katie Bell was nothing like that. She was treated nothing like that by the extended family who came and went through my grandmother's house. Katie Bell was in charge, and she was treated as such. Katie Bell was wiser than any human I have ever known. Ever known. Katie Bell Henderson was far, far more of a mother to me than my mother ever was, remotely was. I looked up to that woman more than I have anyone in my life, ever, ever, ever. She saved me from going bad. I had every opportunity with no rules in my house to go wrong, to go south, to go bad. Katie Bell Henderson taught me right from wrong. She taught me about the evils of alcohol. She saved me. She built a foundation in my life that to this moment benefits me. I sat and watched all of Katie Bell's favorite shows with her, from The Edge of Night to Gunsmoke. Shows probably before your time, maybe not Edge of Night, but Gunsmoke. She loved Gunsmoke. I had no idea how much Katie Bell had taught me until I became an adult, until she had passed. Katie Bell even took me occasionally to her church, which was an AME church on the northeast side of Oklahoma City. When I went, I would be the only white person in attendance. And they treated me like a prince. I always preferred those services far more than I did mine, my all-white ones that I went to with my mom, only because my mom wanted to impress my grandmother. I'm doing this right. I'm taking my kids to church. But Black people celebrate their love for God. in ways I'd never experienced in my church. It was exciting. It was inspiring. It was uplifting. And it made a deep impression upon me. A whole lot of who I am came from Katie Bell Henderson. I believe she came from God into my life. She taught me from day one, we are all the same. We all came from God. We're just in different colors. What Dion thanked me for came from Katie Bell Henderson. So it was a couple of years back. My wife, Ernestine, had connected with a psychic who lives in New York, a black man named Joseph, who's originally from New Orleans. And she said, I think you could benefit from a reading with Joseph over the phone. No, I don't buy it. I don't believe in it. I was skeptical. She said, he's a God guy like you. Why don't you just give it a try? Just see how it feels. You don't even have to open your mind to it. Just give it a whirl. I finally said, okay, you sure he's a God? Yep, he's a God guy. So over the phone, Joseph and I connected. We prayed. And then as we were just beginning to interact on the phone, he interrupted and said, oh, somebody wants to join us. And I'm like, oh, God, join us how? I thought maybe he was going to say my mom wanted to, and she was going to say how sorry she. I didn't know what it was. And if it was my mom, I was going to say, no, Joseph, no, I don't want to do this. But he said, I asked him, is this my mom? No, it's not your mom. He says, it's a black woman. Huh? Hadn't thought about Katie Bell for a good while. A black? I said, Katie Bell? Yes, it's Katie Bell. She wants you to know how proud she is of you. And it just rocked me. There's no way he could have known of Katie Bell. I mean, Ernestine knows a little about Katie Bell, but not a lot. There's just no way. So all I knew to do was to tell Joseph to please tell Katie Bell how much I love her and how thankful I am for her. I just hope that Katie Bell was up there watching last Friday when Dion said what he said to me in Boulder, Colorado. Somehow that moment to me just felt so meant to be. Somehow to me, that moment felt like it had been in the making since I was 3 or 4 years old. I hope you enjoyed that video. You ready for more? Make sure you click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from the Skip Bayless Show. And don't forget to check out the full episode of the show wherever you get your podcasts by clicking the link in the description.